I'm so delighted that so many of you have stayed to join us at the end. I know that the announcement of where the forum's going to be next year has been such a well-kept secret. So we've almost reached the end of this year's forum, and as I'm going to have another German saying now, alles hat ein Ende, nur die Wurst hat zwei. Everything has an end, and only the sausage has two. I did actually have a slide to illustrate this, but our projector has overheated, so you can just visualize. So I want to just share with you two quotes that stuck with me from the last few days. One is from Kimberly Motley, who said, "My way of civilizing the economy is to become a global investor in human rights." I think Kim really blew most of us away at the opening yesterday. Her courage and her fearlessness and determination, I think it really reminds all of us why we do this kind of work. And one of the things that Kim's quote, what it reminded me of is that it really is possible to have purpose and profit. She works 70% of her time for profit in order to subsidize the 30% of her time that she spends doing pro bono cases. And I think that that's a model that can and should be replicated by others that really mean it when they say they want pro bono and social responsibility to be a meaningful pillar of their firm or organization. The second quote is from Jonathan Kaufman from Advocates for Community Alternatives at the Strategy Convening. I really don't mean this to be like a shout out to the stars of the forum, but and Jonathan said, "Communities need something to fight for, not just against." And I think you really articulated the shift in approach and mindset that we, as advocates for human rights, need to adopt. Correcting wrongs is important, but it's also important to prevent those wrongs from happening in the first place. And PILnet is trying to do just that. And I think that through many of the sessions that we've participated in and organized over the last couple of days, you can see that. We're trying to build civil society resilience, identify risks, anticipate the problems, and then identify the expertise from across different sectors to get out in front of those problems. We're also doing it by training the next generation of lawyers to grow up understanding that the privilege of their legal education and training comes with a responsibility to use law to change their local communities for the better. And myself and the rest of the PILnet team, I think there's about 22 of us here over the last few days, we often get caught up in the weeds of organizing this event, and I personally often find myself losing sight of why it's important. And to be honest, it's hard not to when you're working on a 32-page staff guide to where people should be and when at 1 o'clock in the morning. And then I arrive, and then it all clicks into place. I meet all of you, and I hear about the incredible work that you're all doing. And I'm reminded of just how nourishing this gathering is and how vital it is to take a minute to be around peers, to reflect and learn, connect and hatch plans. And even though these sound like platitudes, it is the most consistent feedback that I've received this year, that this event is really, it has such a unique spirit. I think it definitely had a unique spirit on the dance floor last night at Wasserwerk. And I can design the agenda, but I can't design for that. So to echo Garth's words at the opening of the forum, thank you all for being here. Thank you for sharing so generously. And thank you for being such an incredible community of people to work with over the last 7 years, inside the forum and out. I really feel truly, truly grateful. And I'm also incredibly grateful to all my colleagues and staff at PILnet and the members of our board. You're really such an inspiring group of people to work with. And so I've got one last quote. It's not from the last couple of days, so I'm kind of cheating a little bit. It came out of the forum that we held in Bali, Indonesia in 2016 from Justice Michael Kirby. And his words ring as true today as they did then. He said, "Justice needs advocates. We will be advocates for justice in strong and practical ways. We will occasionally be boring, because that is sometimes the necessity of technical legal work. We will often be bold, because that involves an imagination that conceives of a world that is just and that rights the wrongs of today. And where necessary, we will be brave, because it is by courage that the greatest advances of freedom and justice are attained. Pro bono lawyers have a vital role to hasten the days of freedom and justice for all. Thank you. And now, back by popular demand is Susie Turner, co-chair of the PILnet board. Susie?
Thank you. So I hope not to be redundant, but my job right now is to thank everyone and not to leave anyone out. So, Marianne, thank you for those really wonderful remarks. I have no quote, so I can't. All I can do is thank. But first of all, I'd like to thank our sponsors. The main list is up there to my right, so please, I should have like a moment of silence for you all to stare at them and to appreciate them as much as we do, because without our sponsorship, this would not happen. Second, I want to thank all the speakers today, and a particular shout out to the moderators. That is one constant source of feedback I got over the last 2 days, is that the moderators have been terrific. There weren't a lot of sessions where there wasn't a lot of interaction, and there were really active sessions. So thank you all for making it a truly sort of collaborative, interactive kind of forum. I'd also like to thank the attendees. Many of you have been with us since the very beginning, when the first forum started in Budapest, also many years ago. So thank you very much for keeping coming year after year. Again, this is all about partnerships. So if there aren't people here, we can't form partnerships. So please keep coming. Finally, I want to thank the staff. The PILnet staff is unsung, and we need to sing them, because this is not an easy, all of you, I'm sure, have been involved in planning conferences from time to time, and they don't magically come together. It is the force of a lot of work, a lot of organization, and hope for good weather, among other things. So could all the PILnet staff and the PILnet fellows please stand so we can give you a round of applause and acknowledgement? I'm going to save an important thank you for last, but I also want to thank the host committee and Pro Bono Deutschland for the wonderful work. Again, it's hard to come into a country or jurisdiction and plan a forum, so without the local support and connections, this doesn't happen. So my last but not least is the woman who you just heard from, Marianne. We can't thank her enough for all her efforts over the years in planning these forums. So, Marianne, can you stand up and take a bow? That's how I get received when I come home each day. My whole family does. So now I'm going to turn this over to Andre and Leontine to talk about the worst kept secret at this conference.
Thank you so much, Susie. So we are done for today, almost, but the party doesn't stop. I would like to immediately tell you what some of you already heard. We will be focusing on technology and access to justice and technology summit together, as you might have seen this with DLA Piper. We will be meeting next time in London on the 17th and 18th of June, one day being Access to Justice and Technology Summit, and one day being 2019 PILnet's European convening. And why this is actually the PILnet European convening, Leontine will tell a little bit more.
Hey, I wonder. So following our exciting events in June, we will be looking to November 2019, when we will be holding the next Global Forum. Again, the worst-kept secret of this forum. Following a 2-year absence in Asia, we will be bringing our forum back to Asia. In the past few years, there have been amazing strides made in the pro bono and public interest community in Hong Kong and around Asia. PILnet has also been expanding its presence outside of our base of China and Hong Kong and have kicked off an anti-trafficking program across 5 countries in the region. I'm very excited to announce that we will be holding the next PILnet Global Forum in Singapore. If any of you with a presence in Singapore are interested in joining us on the host committee, then please feel free to contact me. I would now like to invite a longtime friend, supporter, and partner of PILnet up onto the stage, Mr. Tongyi Lim, the CEO of the Singapore Law Society Pro Bono Services, to say a few words.
So I knew about this some time ago. I was sworn to secrecy, and I promised I didn't say anything. I had a lot of people come up to me and saying, do you know about this? And I just said I can't confirm or deny. But I'm absolutely delighted that the Global Forum is coming to Singapore. It's always such a pleasure to be refreshed, engaged, inspired through the forum. And I think for many of us in this room, we face major challenges and obstacles in the work that we do, and sometimes even persecution, like last night's award winner as well. And I think, to me, the huge value of the forum is that it provides an absolutely amazing platform to get new ideas, new perspectives. I think in one of the early sessions, Garth talked about new paradigms, to relook at what we're doing. And I think the richness of having such a diversity of opinions really makes it very, very powerful. I actually look forward to this idea of having a conference in November. It's at the end of the year. You're very tired from the battles you fought in the past months. And just being able to be getting a fresh toolkit, fresh insights that you can reflect on and then see how you can implement it in the coming year. It's actually very, very powerful. I think one of the things was talking about sustaining civil society organizations. When you talk about sustainability, you have to sustain the passion of practitioners. And to me, the PILnet Forum has been such an amazing way of doing this. I mean, I've been having a lot of conversations, and just the energy, the passion, and the beautiful thing is that it's global. Whether you're from South America, you're from Africa, you're from Asia, North America, and so on, there's this kind of common spirit that binds us all together, which is so, so powerful. And it's so important to keep coming. So if this was your first conference, please don't make it a last. I really hope to see you in Singapore. Now, Garth asked me to talk a bit about what to expect in Singapore. So a couple of quick facts if you're not very familiar. We are a tiny city-state. We're smaller than Berlin, but nearly twice the population. And we're all contained in a tropical island just 1 degree north in the heart of Southeast Asia. For the car enthusiasts, we were home to Formula One's inaugural night race, and some of you may have seen the beautiful cityscape from that TV coverage. And thanks to a recent Hollywood movie, a lot of you may be aware that we're also home to a lot of Crazy Rich Asians. So there's actually a stat for that. Singapore is, in fact, number 4 in Asia for number of billionaires, which is remarkable given the relatively tiny population. So, unfortunately, that makes us also one of the most expensive places to live in. So in terms of car prices alone, a 1-liter Skoda Octavia would set you back around 56,000 euros or 64,000 US dollars, just to give you a reference point. So income disparity and the high cost of living mean that a significant number of Singaporeans would have a lot of difficulty if they're caught in a legal crisis. But this is where I would encourage you to visit Singapore next year, and you can tour a very dynamic and holistic access to justice system. Starting at law schools, some of the participants were talking about how important it is to start pro bono culture among lawyers. If you come to Singapore, you'll be interested to know that it's compulsory for law students to complete a certain number of pro bono hours or they can't graduate. And this was intentional because it's trying to embed in the DNA of our next generation lawyers how important pro bono service is part of their identity. And we're seeing the fruits of that because what's happening is that alumni are now setting up social enterprise law firms. So that's a very interesting phenomenon. And these are lawyers who could have easily gotten very big careers in large law firms. Moving on to bar associations. If you're interested in learning about how bar associations can serve as catalysts for access to justice and pro bono, you can learn on how pro bono engagement in Singapore jumped when the Bar Association decided to invest resources in supporting lawyers doing pro bono work. We have dynamic NGOs helping the poorest and most marginalized in the community with access to justice issues. This includes migrant workers, sex workers, victims of human trafficking, the disabled, and the destitute. And pro bono lawyers have been actively engaged in supporting this work, both upstream and downstream. Even our courts and the Ministry of Law are in the game as well. There was a major paper which was released about 2 weeks ago, and they're looking at completely revamping the civil procedures as well to make it much easier for litigants in person to go through the court system. They're also very big on technology, so they start to invest in AI chatbots, automatic court document assembly programs to make it, again, easier for litigants in person to navigate the court system. And even the prosecution, our Attorney General's chambers, have worked with the police, the Law Society, and NGOs to proactively identify vulnerable accused persons with intellectual disability to provide them with support during police investigations. So, a common driver you'll find for many of these SDG 16 initiatives is SDG 17 multi-stakeholder collaborations. And these collaborations are interesting because they go beyond the usual cast of legal industry players. They can involve data scientists, psychologists, teachers, social workers, medical and IT professionals, all volunteering pro bono to support some of these initiatives. So I would encourage all of you, whether you're from an academic, legal, NGO, government, or policymaker background, to sign up for next year's forum in Singapore. And just to close, drawing an analogy with one other thing Singapore is very famous for, which is food, I'm sure that the 2019 PILnet Global Forum will feature an amazing buffet of public interest law and pro bono learning opportunities to satisfy the most demanding access to justice appetites in this room. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, everyone is invited to join us in Asia next year, but we like to plan long term. This is a family that has been going on for a while. It's a tremendous pleasure for me to be part of this as well. And I would like to tell you that in 2020, we're coming back to Europe. And soon we will be launching a call for co-hosts for our global forum in Europe in 2020. And now I would like to invite you for a drink before you take the wonderful ideas and the new partnerships home with you, as you said, for the road. There will be drinks outside. Thank you so much.